no. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Oregon, Georgia, pretty easy. The third seed in the college football playoff will buy into the quarterfinals.
It's old Mike Prater. Folks will be happy to watch that for days, months, years to come as the Boise State football team making history last night, earning the number 3 seed into the college football playoff, getting a first-round bye, celebrating at their watch party, and they'll get 12, 13 days to sit around, get right, and then see who they're going to play, either SMU or Penn State. What a historic day yesterday for this program, for this team, for this city, for the college football playoff, and you wrote about it so elegantly at BroncoNationNews.com. Hopefully folks can go check that out and read your column, and back with us after our live show yesterday for another 45 minutes or so today to the day after kind of look at what happened yesterday. But always appreciate the time, Mike Prater, and I think on a Monday to give some kind of big picture perspective of this, you're the perfect guy to come on. How you doing?
Well, good. I appreciate that, and love coming on here with you. And let's break this thing down. And I will throw out one small correction already. It's not only been a historic day, and as you know, it's been a historic weekend. And certainly started Friday. I know the basketball game didn't go as well as on Saturday, but yesterday was amazing. Today we're going to have a lot of Ashton Jenny Heisman talk. I really truly believe that it's certainly one of the most momentous. Whatever Monday word I'm looking for. It's just been a crazy 4 days, probably the craziest, most unique 4 days in the history of Boise State football, maybe the greatest 4 days in the history of Boise State football.
No doubt. No, it's been pretty surreal, pretty crazy. And being in that room yesterday, Mike Prater, it's funny because everything was set up to go exactly perfect, but stomach started turning a little bit for Boise State. You get a little nervous. They start actually releasing the teams, and after those first 2 teams, they stop again and show the 3 teams trying to get the buys, and they're trying to stir up the drama, getting Clemson in there. Do they deserve a bye? And even just it's Boise State, so there's just still 1% of you that's like, are they going to screw them here? What are they going to do? I don't know if anybody else was getting nervous or not, but I was like looking at that and I'm like, man, are they really actually going to try to screw them? And then when the 3 seed came up and it was Boise State, it was a pretty cool moment.
It was a cool moment. It was a very cool moment. And the uneasy feeling about, Boise State getting screwed every now and then. And it wasn't really a screw job, but it was just an interesting anecdote to a crazy day. But as you know, we missed like the first 90 seconds, maybe even the first 2 minutes of the selection show. And the beauty of that is we were watching on a direct feed, I believe, from Bristol, Connecticut, that they sent to the athletic department. No delay. It was absolutely live. That's how they do these watch parties, so they get that true, genuine reaction. But somehow that delay that was connected to the college football show ended up with Adam Schefter doing injury reports on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there for 2 minutes, it's like, what are we missing? What are we missing? Because in the regular season, they've got after those shows pretty fast. And in this particular case, they made it draw out for a few minutes, like you said, and there was some nervous anxiousness. I had no issues or no problems thinking that Boise State was going to be a bye. I was pretty convinced, though, that they were going to drop to the 4 line, that Arizona State was going to pass them. And I thought maybe at the way the bracket shaped up in my mind, being the 4 seed, still going to the Fiesta Bowl was a much better path. Wrong again, Prater. The way it turned out yesterday was absolutely perfect for Boise State.
Yeah, there was a couple teams. I made a list on Twitter of teams that I did not think matched up great, that Boise State matched up great with. And there was like 4 or 5 teams that I wanted Boise State to try to avoid, or I would have avoided if I was Boise State. And literally 4 of the 5 teams that I didn't want them to play are on the other side of the bracket. And we can get into all of that. But I mean, Oregon's reward for going undefeated and going 13-0 is having to play either Tennessee or Ohio State in the first game on a neutral site. The way the seeding works, and it's not even worth spending too much time on, because I think it's obvious they're going to change it here moving forward, maybe as early as next year, just to seed the field 1 through 12, 1 through 16, whatever it is, not give the buys. But I have the clip from Spencer Danielson, and Reese Davis, while we were in the room, is talking about the paths of these teams. And he says, and it's still quiet at this time. This is, 20 seconds after they've announced Boise State's in. And Reese Davis says something to the effect of, hey, if you're Penn State, you got SMU and then Boise State, you're feeling pretty good about your path. And they're all kind of like, are they? Are they? Bring it on. This is what Spencer Danielson said about that.
Yeah, the Fiesta Bowl is awesome, but different than the years before. That was the last game no matter what. We need to earn the right to make sure it's not. And so, and knowing this team, Jay, knowing how they're wired, I'm already, like I said, hearing them talk about the guys that are counting us out, that are talking about how, shouldn't be there, or, this is going to be an easy road for SMU and Penn State, whoever wins. Great. Love it. That's what this place is built on. Chip on their shoulder. Please count us out. And that's our guy. So I'm fired up.
I already saw Travis Hawk saying he wants to make "Please Count Us Out" shirts.
I love that.
Yeah. And, that is like all these Fiesta Bowls, all this stuff. I mean, we knew that was going to kind of be the theme, that underdog mentality yet again, Mike Prater, but it was starting right there 30 seconds after their name got picked.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Spencer Danielson, well played. That's been the chip on the shoulder. That's been the mentality at Boise State, since the 1990s, when they made the transition to FBS. When they were FCS, they were kind of, the brand, the big dog that everybody chased, and then it all changed in the 90s, and they've accepted it, and that mantra has really worked well for them, and it's going to work well here for us. Now, I got to thinking last night as my mind's racing, like for all of us, it's racing about a million different scenarios. What if it's Boise State and SMU in the Fiesta Bowl? That's certainly not how they drew up a quarterfinal for a national tournament. That would be kind of ironic. That would be kind of fun. It would take some of the national sizzle out of it, but I don't know if that provides a better path or not. I don't know if SMU or Penn State are good. Nobody's talking about that. Well, a lot of people are talking about that, but I just think there's so many different scenarios. We could sit here forever and come up with all kinds of interesting angles to this game.
Yeah, you have the column up at BroncoNationNews.com, kind of just taking in the sights, the sounds, the scene yesterday. We got there about 9:45 in the morning. The players gathered in the team room there. We showed you the video to kick off the show. There's a lot of videos all over social media. As you said, that after a couple minutes of having the wrong feed, they get the show on. It kind of, we hear Nick Saban complaining, and I guess he wasn't complaining yet because they hadn't had the field yet, but he was politicking for Alabama. They finally get to the field, and then they announce it, and then we hear Nick Saban, complaining that Alabama didn't get in, that the players left to go get some food, shut out Wingstop, it looked like. That's one of the I won't say underrated, but that happens pretty often in the media, Mike Prater. We stand around and watch other people eat.
That's so true. That is so true. That is very true. It smelled good too. It smelled really good. At one point I was watching Austin Bolt. He was just by himself and he just had his face in the middle of this big old pile of wings. And I was going to go up and steal a couple from him, but I refrained.
It seems like it's pretty regular. Overweight, hungry, out of shape sports writers watching like coaches come in and eat and players eat and everything else. And it's just like, can you throw us a bone? Come on. One wing, maybe.
Yeah, yesterday maybe they would have thrown us a bone at us, literally.
Yes. Anyway, it was kind of we expected it to be the Fiesta Bowl, but there was a little bit of drama, I guess, in terms of whether or not how that's going to work, and no one really knew the rule. And when Arizona State gets back in, does that make them more likely for the Fiesta Bowl because there's maybe a tie in there or whatever? And when all's said and done, there was about 20 players in the room and like 3 people looking at the screen, and all of a sudden they just popped up I thought they might go one by one again or whatever. They just popped up the bracket with the times on it, Mike Prater, and the opponents and the locations, and found out right away. No, it's the Fiesta Bowl. Here's the bracket with the times now. But that part of it, I don't think we expected to be super dramatic, but it definitely ended up being anticlimactic.
Yeah, it really kind of did. And I think Boise State was kind of, 5 minutes behind trying to plan, and nobody really knew what was going on. This is the first time they've done one of these, and there was a lot of miscommunication between the CFP committee and ESPN, even us, in terms of the media, in terms of why the Peach Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Fiesta. I know there's some vague rules out there, and I know there's some speculation. And I really think, the CFP committee, once they put together the bracket, had to go spend 5, 10, 15 minutes, talking to commissioners, bowl directors, trying to make sure that everybody was on the same page, because I think the rule kind of came down to common sense. Nobody got to pick anything. They just kind of figured out the common sense. Obviously, Oregon to the Rose Bowl, that kind of thing makes sense. But, does Georgia go to the Peach or the Sugar, that kind of stuff? So, or Arizona State. And I was told by one Boise State official that, and they were just kind of throwing their arms up in the air because they were frustrated as well, saying maybe it came down to hotel rooms. And we talked about this yesterday on our reaction show. Arizona State's not necessarily going to sell 15, 20,000 hotel rooms when it comes to the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State or any other traveling team would. So maybe it came down to some kind of crazy decision, some kind of crazy tiebreaker like that.
And I don't think you're worried too much about selling out the Fiesta Bowl, like Boise State, Penn State, SMU, whoever's there. I think that game sells out. So I don't think you're necessarily saying like a typical bowl game, let's get that ticket sale bump by keeping the home team there.
No, and I think the Fiesta Bowl is one of those, and I don't know the exact number, but we know that it's got very, very, very strong local support. And I would imagine at the end of the day, it's like third locals because they're fans and they support that bowl game, a third Boise State and a third of the visitors. What is that thing? 65, 68, 9,000 people or whatever it is. So it'll probably be somewhat of a breakdown like that.
I did look last year, though. It was Liberty against Oregon. They only had like 40-something thousand. They did not sell out last year for I was surprised to see that. It was like a 10 a.m. game on New Year's with Liberty in that game. And that was they did not do too well that year. But anytime they've had any kind of significance or two good teams, it's been a sellout pretty much every year. And I would suspect that to be the case. And I hadn't thought about this part of it, but I'm was looking at my parents were going to be in town in St. Louis or here around there. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe we could go down, spend a couple extra days down there instead. And I was kind of looking at tickets, and Boise State fans kind of have the advantage here in terms of the tickets. I mean, you're only fighting with one. You're not fighting with the other team to try to get tickets at this point. I mean, you do want to keep tickets on your side of the stadium, I guess. There's the home side and the visiting side, and all the maps say, this is the Boise State side. But, I don't think Penn State or SMU fans are rushing yet to buy the Fiesta Bowl tickets, so they know if their team's even in the game. So Boise State fans kind of have first dibs here to secure a lot of these tickets.
Yeah, the game tickets won't be a problem. Hotels won't be a problem. All that kind of stuff. You can drive there. It's a long drive, but you got the weekend to get down there and planning it. And I know a lot of families will do that, and it'll be a tradition. It'll be really kind of fun. The only real issue is, and this cropped up yesterday for everybody, is going to be plane flights. So plane flights are highly, highly expensive. If you found one for under $600 to $800 window, congratulations, because as of yesterday, those plane flights are pretty scary. But everything else seems very, very doable and very, very affordable. I know the bowl tickets are about $220 maybe, plus some fees, maybe $250 for a ticket. That's in the olden days, that sounded gross and disgusting, but that's just kind of the way it is these days. And we've all been to these games, and these tickets, that's the price these days. And think of the memories you get for $250. I would imagine most every Boise State fan says it's definitely worth the price of admission.
I don't think it's the case now, Mike Prater, but about a week or two ago when I took a guess and booked this was going to be the case to try to get ahead of this.
Smart.
It was actually cheaper to fly to San Jose, cover Boise State, San Jose basketball, and then fly from San Jose to Phoenix than to fly straight from Boise to Phoenix.
Ooh.
So I'll be stopping off in San Jose to cut the event auditorium, I believe it's called, there in San Jose to cover the Boise State San Jose State basketball game on the 28th, I think it is, Saturday the 28th, the same day the team goes. They have a 2 o'clock game there, and then can fly down that night. And I'll tell you what, from a media perspective, the Fiesta Bowl, Mike Prater, it's always been known as being one of the top ones. I've covered the Fiesta Bowl before in 2014, obviously. Have covered, I think, at least twice the smaller bowl game they have there, which has had numerous different names. It was, when I was in college, it was the Insight.com Bowl, and then it was the Cactus Bowl or Motel 6 Bowl for Boise State Baylor a couple years ago.
I remember that.
Do it right with the media setup. And the thing I'm most looking forward to is December 29th. That is the Sunday morning, I believe. The game's on a Tuesday. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Game. They are doing a media day where it's basically 90 minutes and the entire team is in the room available for interviews. So I can pretty much go up and get any player in the entire team for an hour and a half. That's going to be fun, free for all. And I'm going to have to kind of plan that in advance, what the point of attack would be there, and try to come up with some fun ideas for some, fun segments and stuff. But they have a big ballroom, and like every player on the whole team pretty much sits at a table, and they're available for media 2 days before the game. That's
pretty cool, man. I can imagine that 10% of those tables will be full, and 80% of those tables will probably be empty. But I believe those.
You'll find a guy that's sitting by himself.
And that's good. That's always good. That's kind of like, the John F. K. Funeral. I forget the reporter's name, but, he went off and interviewed the gravedigger while everybody else was kind of watching JFK's burial. And sometimes you kind of want to go off and get the quiet guy in the corner and see what he has to say. So make that happen.
Yeah, someone's already saying go get a vibe check on Malachi. So that's one stop you'll have to make. Malachi.
We saw the vibe check on Malachi last night, and you just showed it on your video, and it's all over the internet as well. Go, the video that you started this show off with. Look at who's sitting in the front row, front and center. It's Maddox Madsen and it's Malachi Nelson. They just stand up right now. They kind of cheer. They turn around and then turn around. There's another better angle, but now watch their secret handshake here. They got a pretty cool little secret handshake. Malachi Nelson looks like he's got a big old fat smile on his face. Look at that. And then they wipe the brow. It's kind of cool what they do. So there's a little vibe check on Malachi Nelson, who, by the way, the transfer portal is officially open as of midnight last night, guys. And you probably heard Spencer Danielson say during our press conference that he expects that he's positive that the core, the two deep of this roster, will stick together for the Fiesta Bowl. I thought that was a pretty powerful statement in a transfer portal era, BJ.
Maybe I'm just naive or whatever, Mike, but you're not, if you're transferring, you're not you don't come, if you're a player that anyone cares about, on like a player that's actually got a role on this team, you're not transferring out before a college football playoff game, are you? Is there really much question with that?
I believe we've seen a consensus on social media that he's gone. I'm in the camp that I'm not going to go too crazy, but I'm going to go 60-40 that he stays. I think there's a better chance that he stays.
I'm not talking Malachi Nelson. I'm just talking in general. You're a starter or a key player on a team that's the number 3 seed in the tournament. I wouldn't think I personally, and again, I'm wrong all the time, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't even think that's really a question. You're a key player on a team in the college football playoff. There's another transfer window later on. Like, I don't think I would be shocked, stunned. It'd be a huge thing to me that I would be I'm not expecting at all any actual contributing player on Boise State to transfer before the Fiesta Bowl.
I would agree with that. Although I wouldn't shock me if there was one for whatever weird reason, outlier, but I'm going to trust Spencer for his word. He's got a really good grasp on this roster. He's proven that since last January, where he won the offseason, and that's the only reason why he won the regular season. So, Spencer Danielson is really good, and from what I can tell, he's never misled us. That doesn't mean, and he hasn't had all the conversations yet, but we'll see how it happens. The transfer portal next window is not till spring, so if you want to get to another school this semester, you definitely have to make that decision. And nobody's shocked anymore if there's the one guy out there because he's the second string X position, whatever, because he's just personally unhappy or misses his girlfriend or grandma just died or however it works out. But yeah, I expect this team to be completely together, and I don't expect Malachi Nelson to hit the transfer portal. I'm not naive and won't be surprised if he does, but I think Malachi Nelson's here for one more season, and I think he's got enough courage in his brain to tell himself, hey, I'm going to go battle again, and let's see what happens.
Well, he's definitely a guy that's definitely a guy that I'll be going over to his table and talking to, though, and asking that question.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be there's going to be certain guys like that and storylines that's kudos to the Fiesta Bowl, and it's kind of great because the schools don't want to do that, but it's like, no, this is our media policy. You're SOL, like your whole team has to show up here. I guess it's either the two deep or the whole team, but either way, it's anybody of significance that you would want to talk to at that point. And there's a lot of other great media events and things. They do a really good job. The Fiesta Bowl is very well done and going to be a fun event coming up here on the 31st. But Mike, anything else kind of from yesterday just stand out to you? I mean, we talked about it for an hour yesterday and we read your column, but just, I don't think I've been going back even before the championship game, just to the history of this a lot. And I just, as a quote unquote outsider, someone that, moved here 12 years ago and knew about Boise State and obviously since I've, gotten here have met more of the former players and coaches and really tried to, immerse myself with the history of this place. But it seems maybe more surreal to someone like me, just looking on paper and seeing where they were. But for people that have, lived this and been a Boise State fan their whole life and going back to the junior college days and the non-Division I days and all the FCS championship and all this stuff, and just to, or 1AA, whatever they called it back then. And just and we've, to have yesterday happen and have a real, he's in the clip there, you heard Spencer Danielson say it, like the Fiesta Bowl is not the last game. You win, you get to move on to the Final Four. Like you're in a real, like I was watching one of the local news stations last night after one of the football games ended or something. And they're showing like the bracket and they're like, if they win, they'll advance to do this. And it had the, kind of the NCAA tournament vibe, but even like an NFL playoff vibe, just like a big time, like they just, you're not used to, they've had it before with the 4, but when it's 12 and there's multiple layers of the bracket and it's a real chance to win a Boise State has a, yes. Is it likely? No. Would you ever pencil Boise State basketball into the Final Four? Probably not, but you're looking at a bracket and you're going, oh, if they win this game, they could play Gonzaga, or, oh, if they do this, they could do that. Like it's a pretty surreal feeling to see Boise State, a win away from playing Georgia or playing Penn. The crazy part to me is Boise State sitting around and they're, Penn State and SMU are fighting for the chance to play Boise State. Like that part still is kind of, weird to me that it's not Boise State, as the 11 seed trying to fight to get, play the big boy in the next game. Like though it's still kind of hard for me to just grasp this whole thing, Mike Prater.
Yeah, and you were originally asking me about final thoughts for yesterday, and it was exactly what you just said, but in a little different way. The fact that this was happening yesterday and all those things you just beautifully described were at stake in terms of what was going on, but you walked in that building and there was no feeling of angst whatsoever, and the players talked about that. There was a comfort level. There was a stress-free day. Some guys just woke up and rubbed their eyes and said, it's going to be a gorgeous day. Some guys went to church. Some guys did whatever that they did, and it was really kind of casual and stress-free because they've gotten to the point now through 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of building this national brand and hard work where they've got the respect now, and then they got the substance too because of what they did during this regular season. So it was really kind of cool that not only do they have everything you just said, but they enter it with this sense of calm, a sense of being there, a sense of worth. And Boise State's always had this sense of worth, but the chip on the shoulder mentality has always worked better. Now they get to combine both of them. And I think it's really, really cool. Nobody here, even the most hardcore, I don't care if you were the guy leading the parade to drop the goalpost in the river the other night. You probably don't sit here realistically and say Boise State's going to win a national championship. Do you have a puncher's chance to get into the semifinals? Hell yeah. And just that alone right there gives you hope and excitement. And if they can win that first game, let's see something cool build and get to it. And then maybe by the middle of January, we're having ourselves another original Fiesta Bowl moment.
I want to move on to a couple other topics while we got you, but I do want to throw one thing. I know everyone expects the format to change and all this, and I'm not going to talk about the buys and all that, but one thing I would like to see is if they go from 12, the easiest way I think to make my scenario work is go just to 16. One plays 16, two plays 15. And if that's the case, it would be nice for the top 8 teams to get a home game. I mean, I mentioned Oregon, but like it is pretty crazy. Oregon, the only undefeated team in the country, and their reward is a neutral site game against either Ohio State, who they barely beat on a last-second field goal, or Tennessee. I think that this round, and you can't do it this year, obviously, because you have to have Fiesta Bowl and all these bowls. So that's why you would go from 16 to 8 on the home campuses. Then you're right here in the 8 with the 4 games in these 4 bowls again. But I think that it would have been pretty cool. Teams 1 through 4 this year that got the buys, I think it would have been nice to have rewarded them with a home game.
No, there's no doubt. And, if you think that there's a possibility, well, anything's possible in terms of contracts. But, I suspect we're going to have the same rules next year. But in 2026, I firmly buy into exactly your scenario. That's the scenario I'm looking for, is the 16 teams with 8 campus home games, and let's expand this. Now, that's probably going to come with a caveat of the SEC and the Big Ten getting at least 3, maybe 4 guarantees, but that's fine. They're going to get that many in there for the most part. In a 16 teams field, they're going to always include the little guy, and we'll kind of figure it out from there. So I like that chance. I like that. I think it's really, really smart to make that happen. I'm going to correct you on one tiny little thing. I don't think an Oregon fan or anybody from the traditional blue blood Pac-12 schools would say that the Rose Bowl is a neutral site game. You're not wrong in theory, but there is an excitement and a mastery and a beautifulness to like an Oregon going to the Rose Bowl, and they will adopt that as their powerful hometown and their hometown, kind of the home field advantage, and it'll be a pretty cool scene for those guys to do that.
Oh, if it's Oregon, Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, that would be pretty crazy.
That would be spectacular. That's the way college football is intended, my friend.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed some Western Collective beverages over the weekend, celebrating a big win, a historic weekend for the Broncos. Western Collective, check out their brewery there in Garden City, and they've got the Horseshoe Collective Golden Ale and the Orange Chaos Seltzer, and a portion of the proceeds of those beverages go back to support the Horseshoe Collective, putting money back in the pocket of student athletes at Boise State. So get them at Extra Mile Arena for basketball season the rest of the way. Most local grocery stores and spots around town have them as well. But again, the Western Collective Brewery there in Garden City. Check them out, Western Collective, our studio sponsor here at Bronco Nation News. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Check them out. Idaho Central Credit Union. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. Check them out, Idaho Central Credit Union. Rain's family is so happy we made the switch to ICCU, and you will be too. Check them out again online, ICCU.com. We're also glad we bought and sold our house using Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. I don't BS you folks here. I use all these companies that sponsor us. I'm clients of theirs. I'm telling you like it is. And we used Matt Bauscher to buy and sell our home, paid the same fee everybody else paid, and it was worth every second of it. You see all the people in the picture right there. It's a, everybody knows 5 realtors, but a team like Matt's, every step of the way, there was a different person helping you set up this, helping you set up that. It was just firsthand service. There's a reason he's ranked the #1 realtor in the Treasure Valley. And I highly, highly recommend your next home purchase or sale, you check out BauscherRealEstate.com and Matt Bauscher. You will not be disappointed. Again, check them out online, BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopRidleys.com. Locations across the Treasure Valley, the Magic Valley, the state of Idaho, the surrounding states. Check them out, shopridleys.com. Ridley's Family Markets. You can download their Skip app, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and just have that hometown friendly grocery store feel. They're always there to greet you when you walk in. They just do a tremendous job there, and always love going to Ridley's. So the Kuna location is worth the drive for me, even living in Meridian. So check them out. Again, find a location near you. Get more information at shopridleys.com. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game, thespateam.com. Whether it's a pool table, whether it's a spa, whether it's a sauna, they got you covered with it all. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Make sure you check them out at thespateam.com. And we're still taking your voicemails for the Signature Roofing voicemail inbox. We'll get some of those playing this week. We have another drawing to do from the championship game. Speakpipe.com/BNN. You can leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox, and we'll see. We don't trust the callers like Prater and Johnny where they'll take you live. I need to hear you. I need to hear the voicemail first to make sure we're okay to play it on our show. But I guess we may not have some of the same rules you do on the air, Prater. We're probably okay to play them. But either way, I like to play it safe. So leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN. Your thoughts on the playoff, the ranking, the bye, the Fiesta Bowl, ticket prices, any of that good stuff, and we'll get to it. And again, mysignatureroofing.com. They've been covering our community for more than 2 decades, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an inspection, a free estimate. Check them out online, mysignatureroofing.com. Mike, the spot Boise State team, we've talked about getting there, the bye, whatever, but just the actual matchup, the fact that they were going to play the winner of Penn State, SMU. I've thought, most of the season that Penn State was a little overrated. I just do. I've not been super impressed with them. They've lost their 2 games against ranked teams. You look at their schedule and who they've, potentially beaten. I don't think they have a ranked, win under their belt. And I'm just, I don't think this is a terrible matchup for Boise State. They lost the Oregon game, and then you go down their line. They lost the Ohio State game. I guess they did beat Illinois, so they do have a ranked win over Illinois, 21-7. But West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. There's some quote unquote names on there, Mike Prater, but not a lot of substance with some of those names. I don't think I think Penn State at home, 105,000 people. It's going to be a whiteout. They've already said maybe snow too. Who knows? I think Penn State wins that game, but against SMU. But I think of all the teams Boise State could have played, Penn State is one of the teams I was going to be just fine, and think Boise State will certainly have a chance to beat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And same for SMU. I mean, any combination of any of those games would be spectacular to watch. And Boise State, it's going to be, I couldn't even sit here and tell you. I mean, Penn State would be a favored to win that football game just sitting here on paper, but it's what, 4 to 6 points. I don't know, 7, depending on how excited the guys in the desert get, but a very manageable one. I forget what the original Fiesta Bowl line was. It was a 17, 18, 19, 20 window, maybe even higher than that. So yeah, absolutely. And Boise State can handle both. And, you never quite know how those teams look. Maybe the Penn States of the world do lose a lot of different players off the transfer portal. We'll see what happens with SMU. A month from now is a long time for Boise State to play. But yeah, we'll all be watching that game here in a couple of weeks and looking forward to that. I suspect that Penn State does win that football game. Boise State, Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. Absolutely, the Broncos have a chance to win that football game.
I think I saw Brett McMurphy. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but Brett McMurphy on the Action Network already has, from whatever their gambling site is, the Action Network, some advanced potential lines. And he would have, if it was Boise State, Penn State, as of right now, it would be Penn State minus 12.5.
What? Wow. That's a big number. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not a gambling man, so I stopped for a reason, but I don't bet on Boise State, but I would love Boise State plus 12 points in that football game.
No doubt. And I thought another cool side story just yesterday was the fact that it's the Fiesta Bowl, Mike, and that'll be the storyline, obviously, for the next 3 weeks from tomorrow till the game is. But it could have been the Peach Bowl. Other years, it could have been different bowls. But in the first year, the 12-team playoff, to have a quarterfinal be the Fiesta Bowl, to have that be the game Boise State got sent to. By the way, we're all making a big deal about Boise State being 3-0. My understanding is Penn State is 7-0 all time in the Fiesta Bowl. So we may need to, slow down a little bit on the 3-0, I guess, if that ends up being in terms of it being a sure thing. But I just think the way with the history Boise State has in the Fiesta Bowl, with, like I said, any year it could have been a number of bowl games. The fact that it's this year and it worked out and it's the Fiesta Bowl again, I think that story is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's really spectacular. There's been thousands and thousands of social media has been a blast the last 3 or 4 days, and some of the great things and some of the ugly things of social media. But I think my favorite thing I saw yesterday, and I'm not even sure who I saw it from, and it may have been, a couple of different places, we're going home. And that's kind of how the Boise State football family feels about the Fiesta Bowl. They're going home. There's a comfort level there in terms of just being able to get there, the nostalgia and the memories, the fact that the success and all the different stories that are coming out of there. So somebody put out, we're going home. And I thought that was a really cool, that tweet won the weekend for me.
Yeah, I saw that there's a graphic that Jeremiah Dickey and others from Boise State put out there, and it had the Fiesta Bowl field stage kind of in like a nostalgic, older kind of color, and then you had one player from each of the 3 Fiesta Bowls, and then you had Ashton Genty on the right, all kind of wearing that, orange pants, white jersey, blue helmet, memories. And Spencer Danielson, I asked him about it, just kind of having fun. He, as you know, Mike, I mean, uniform is kind of a dumb press conference question, I guess, but I thought, hey, you've worn these 3 in a row, and what about 4? And he said somebody already, I mean, they'd already talked about it. He said, somebody asked me my thoughts on the uniforms. And he said, and he said I'd be, kicked out of town if I went against that one. So nothing is official. Boise State is the home team, so but I don't think that means they have to wear dark uniforms. That just means they get the pick. They get to pick as the home team. So it wouldn't. I would, if I was a betting man, I'd based on him not blowing it off, and just based on, I remember in 2014 when they did it with Brian Harsin, he was like, was there even any doubt? Like, come on, it's the Fiesta Bowl. That's what we're wearing. I would suspect they may go back to the Fiesta look again in 3 weeks.
Let's do it. Looking forward to that.
Cool. The one change I would make, though, is on the blue helmet. They should go with the retro Idaho horse logo.
I do like that. I do like the look.
They've done that on a blue helmet. They've done that on the orange helmets. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think they could go, honor the past with the orange pants, white jersey, blue helmet, but mix it up. Maybe go with the old school kind of helmet as well. I think that'd be kind of cool. But
I'm all good for that logo.
Mike Prater, I think the Heisman Trophy voting is due this afternoon. You have sources tell me click submit on your vote. You are in. Your vote counts. I should have had the clip ready, but Spencer Danielson was, I would say, borderline shocked to find out that Mike Prater had a Heisman vote. That was kind of a funny moment in the press conference yesterday. It sounds like he granted you unlimited access to the facility, to his office, to whatever you want. Once he found out you were a voter, to try to bribe you there with the pick. But today's the day that it is happening. There's no chance he won't at least get invited to New York. I mean, he's, I think, no worse going to finish second in this thing. That would be a massive upset if he didn't. So I know that people are kind of tiptoeing around it, dancing around it. But what is for folks out there that aren't familiar with the system, the voting's due later today, and then at some point this evening on SportsCenter or NFL Countdown or one of these shows, they'll officially announce the finalists and invite him to New York, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. The deadline to vote is 2:00 Mountain Time this afternoon. It's actually, it might be 3:00 Mountain Time this afternoon. I think it's 5:00 Eastern Time. And I voted last night, from home after everything kind of got settled in. And I never like to wait till the last day in case there's some kind of technical glitch. It really is kind of crazy in terms of the passcodes and the accounting and all the different stuff you have to go through. That Deloitte accounting agency really is a secure. So, I voted last night, not allowed to say who I'm voting for or even kind of hint. And there's like 5 pop-ups that come up during the process of voting that remind you, do not talk about this. So they really is a big emphasis on that. The ceremony is next Saturday night, 6:00, I believe, is when it always is on ESPN. They'll announce it right around 6:50, 6:55. And at that point, I can release the ballot. I'm going to do a column for us at BNN, and I'll, kind of talk about my ballot a little bit, and we'll have some fun with that. I think you've got some plans that you want to talk about. But yes, later on today, I'm not quite sure what sources or how it's going to happen, what vehicle, but Boise State will be announcing, the Heisman Trophy people will be announcing that Ashton Jeanty is one of the 4 finalists. They didn't always do 4. In the past, they always kind of looked for that natural break in voting, that gap. And they brought in 3, 4, 5 different finalists. And that became very vague in terms of that gap because it wasn't always there. And you can't bring everybody in. So now they limit it just to 4. That's the rules. So there's going to be 4. You vote for 3. I voted for 3. Yes, Ashton Jeanty was on one of my 3 lines. I can probably give you the spoil alert there. I thought it was really interesting, though, and we talked about this with Spencer yesterday in terms of there's going to be a Colorado guy. I think that there's going to be an Oregon guy. And maybe the last different finalist comes down to like Cam Ward out of Miami or maybe Cam Scatteraboo out of Arizona State, who took a large charging run at this thing and how much he captured. But Cam Ward had some pretty good individual stats too. And, I don't know if Miami was any better or worse than Arizona State. So that might be a 50-50 battle. I'll be very interested to see who's the 4th finalist tonight. But yeah, Ashton Jeanty's in the field. Boise State's making plans. They're going to leave later on this week. There is no award show in Orlando anymore. It's a studio show out of Bristol, but on Thursday night, Ashton Jeanty will win the Doak Walker Award. He's up for the Maxwell Award, which is kind of the secondary Heisman in terms of National Player of the Year. 10 of the last 20 Maxwell Award winners have not won the Heisman Trophy. So going into this, Ashton Jeanty has a 50-50 chance of becoming the Maxwell Award National Player of the Year, which is still a very, very prestigious honor. And maybe I will, there's a chance that he's got that. So I know everybody's eyes and focus are on the Heisman Trophy. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to be a fantastic week. You're going to be all over it. We're going to be all over it. It's definitely going to be the story of the week.
Yeah, I am heading to New York on Thursday. Thank you.
Good job, JP.
Thank you to Andy Rowe and all of our sponsors and our subscribers. This is you've done this, Mike Prater. You've sent, as a sports editor of the Idaho Statesman, sent somebody to cover this. It's not cheap to go to New York.
I'm still paying for that. Yeah.
It was a very tough decision, to be honest. Do you weigh what do you get out of it? Is it worth going all the way to New York? Would it be nice to get a weekend off? But this is a once in a lifetime kind of historic thing. So
you need to be there. You need to be there, dude. Way to make the sacrifice. You need to be there. I think it's really cool that our organization is able to make that happen. So smart move. And I know you're going to spend a lot of money, but I promise you won't regret it.
And Surf City Bill says private jet, BJ. No, I'm Southwest Airlines on this one. I think Boise State's got the private jet, but I'll be Southwest. And me and Jay Tust are actually both going. Jay's going for KTVB. I'll be going. I think we're the only two that are going. And we'll have our live Friday morning show from the lobby there at the Heisman Hotel on BNN. And then we'll have press conferences. I never even thought about it, but my wife brought it up. Like, I'm going to have to go talk to Deion Sanders and Coach Prime and Travis Hunter and get that whole side of this too. So we may get just as many, if not more, YouTube views on the Travis Hunter stuff than the Ashton Jeanty stuff. So that's going to be another. We're going to go cover that whole angle as well, and then I'll probably join you guys Friday on Idaho Sports Talk from New York and talk about the scene there, and then we'll have the ceremony on Saturday. So looking forward to getting up there to New York, and regardless of what happens, as we bring in Mr. Andy Rowe as well, Mike, a historic day, historic week for Boise. There's no shame in finishing second. It does suck just that Travis Hunter is just, it's a once in a generation type season, type hype, whatever. Like, I mean, you've been following this for a long time, Mike Prater. Like, I would think in 95 out of the last 100 years or whatever, or 95 times out of 190 times, I don't know, maybe that's too high, that a season Ashton Jeanty's putting together would be a runaway Heisman winner.
Well, I don't know about that. And I understand the Travis Hunter angst. I really, truly do from this market. I can absolutely see it and get it and understand it and feel it in some regards. But you got the one thing that nobody's ever really said is this is for 25 years. This has been a Power 5 quarterback popularity contest. And nobody's taking advantage of the fact or appreciating the fact that there isn't a power. If there's a power, if Dylan Gabriel was more exciting and just a little bit flashier, and maybe he had just a little bit better stats, because his stats are pretty damn good. If there was a dominant Power 5 quarterback, that guy would be the runaway winner, because that's who wins the Heisman Trophy, unfortunately, whether he deserves it or not. So, yeah. The Boise State fans have to deal with the Travis Hunter angst, and that sucks. But they're also, the timing of this Heisman Award is perfectly wonderful for guys like Ashton Jeanty, because there's no Power 5 quarterback stealing the thunder, and that's what always steals the Heisman thunder.
I do remember earlier in the year, the one I was most worried about was Gabriel. So it is interesting the way it's played out. Andy, what do you make of the Heisman race here, sir?
Well, Jeanty's had an incredible season. The one thought I had was I was so excited to get past November and not have to see politics on my timeline anymore and just focus on sports. And the weekend it felt like politics and sports combined. ASU and Bronco fans going at each other. The Heisman thing, the guys been going at each other, the Travis or the Jeanty side of things. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. A lot of people say it's a runaway, that they're never give it to Ashton, that Travis is going to get it. It's hard to predict. I have no idea. I think this award, with it being voted by former players, to me, that's the intrigue, because how did those guys think? What do they look at? They know what each player has gone up against. The media guys are the media guys. No offense, Prater, but you think about like a Brett McMurphy, and where his vote's going. He had that post this morning. It's like 3 guesses, RJ, there's a lot of people that are down on Boise because of the conference, and that's how it's always been. So that could potentially play into it. But how better of a finish could you ask for? The fact that we were in a conference championship game, won our conference championship game, are headed to the playoffs. And I think Spencer did the right thing by making a point to that. The best player on the best team is typically how it is. Obviously, no one's saying that we're the best team, but at least we have a shot to make a run through the playoffs, and Ashton got us there. And that was the question that somebody asked, if you swap these two players, how do the fates of their teams change? And I think it's a no-brainer. I think, Colorado with Jeanty, can you imagine Oregon with Jeanty? Like, all the places he could have gone and what he would have contributed. So obviously I'm biased as a Boise State fan, but it's pretty incredible what he's done. It's pretty likely he's going to break, Barry's regular record. And should they go a couple of games, he could maybe have a shot at the Barry's record with the bowl game.
And Prater, before we let you go, I know that there's a talk about in every former player. I'm seeing a lot of the former players that at least post about it on social media seem to be behind Genty. Some of the, a lot of them don't have votes. They're just former players, but it seems like he's getting a lot of love from that standpoint. Anytime you do a public poll on social media, whether it's the Heisman House or whoever else, it seems like Genty is crushing those as well. Somebody asked if the players that get to vote in the media, are those votes all weighed the same, or is it like 30% players, 30%, or is it just every single's, your vote's the same as, whoever Matt Leinert's vote?
Yeah, 100%. And my son actually served Matt Leinart in a restaurant this weekend, and my son called me up and said, I just served Matt Leinart. Is he anybody I should know? My son's not a football guy. It's funny. So we had a Matt Leinart conversation in our house. Yeah, all the votes are the same. I think there's about 930 of them, if I remember right. Every former Heisman winner gets one, but that's only 50 living people probably. And it's not going to be too many, maybe 50, 60 of them. So most of them are the Praters and the McMurphys of the world, which is too unfortunate. And there's a lot of wasted votes out there, people that are kind of holding on to their vote, but really still don't do a lot of things with college football. And that's unfortunate. They could clean this thing up. And I've said, I know I put out that tweet a couple weeks ago that, my prediction was that Travis Hunter was going to win the Heisman Trophy. But you know what? The odds are massive in Travis Hunter's favor. They shrunk this past week, and that's good. The vote will be much closer than the odds, and I've always said that, and I still firmly believe that. It's good. It's not going to be a close, like hair by the chinny chin close, but it's certainly not going to be one of the biggest landslides, which I think McMurphy said the other day. That's ridiculous. I think it's going to be a respectable fight. I still believe. I'm predicting that Travis Hunter will win it. And I understand the backlash here in Boise, but it's going to be close. Ashton Genty, you're right. You said earlier, there's no way he's not going to finish at least second. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had a puncher's chance to win. A powerful statement, back to what Andy said, a very powerful statement. That run, that final, 75-yard touchdown run the other day, I guarantee you that swayed, 5% of the vote. Did it sway 10 to 15% of the vote? That one single play of people watching, it was like, okay, I'm on the fence. That's it. The guy's done enough. Did he do enough? We'll see. Can't wait till Saturday night.
You guys will be all over it on Idaho Sports Talk, 3 to 6 today, all week. Just any thoughts on your show today, Mike? Your plans? Any final thoughts? Obviously, fun weekend, and it's the fun's going to keep on riding here.
Yeah, it's been just an absolutely glorious weekend. We're going to open up our phones and just let people tell stories. What's the favorite part of your weekend? Was it sitting with Grandpa? Was it throwing a goalpost in the river? Was it, hanging out with Post Malone? I mean, so many fun stories about a 4-day weekend that we can't wait to tell those stories. And I want to just hear some stories. But we're going to talk about the Heisman. We'll talk a little transfer portal as well. It's a crazy, juicy, newsy kind of day, and we're here. We're kind of juggling. Here in the KTIK studios, it's a little bit messy and sloppy, and I'd move my camera if I could, but the rowpaint.com crew is hanging out, and we're getting a fancy new paint job from Andy Rowe and Company, and it's the building in about 3 weeks, well, maybe a month or so, huh, Andy? Will never look better, and we appreciate the guys at Rowe Paint for everything you guys do.
Wow. Thanks, Prater. Appreciate that. Yeah, and Prater's a visionary, so you guys already saw the blue. He's got another idea that may be coming to life very soon. So I won't spoil it, but look out for Prater's painting visionary wall coming soon.
I have ideas. I just need help from professionals like you to execute my plans. So he did the big giant blue turf wall that we have here in our studio, and that got some love from Andy and his company and Maggie over at Channel 7, and we got Plan 2 working it out, and you got some priorities to take care of, including watching your Boise State football team, my friend.
Just tell us.
Thanks for your support, Prater.
Just tell us John Mallory didn't win out, and it's going to be a big, giant mural of the Kibbe Dome.
Well, I don't think we're capable of doing that. Sorry, love you, Vandal fans, but I grew up here. The last time we tried to tear down those goalposts was in 1994 after a Vandal game. So
I got strong emotional family ties to the Kibbe Dome, so I'll never do thumbs down to the Kibbe Dome. But I can tell you, in terms of like an Idaho Vandal logo in our hallway, not going to happen, guys.
By the way, Prater, Boise says, grabbed a drink at Penn Gillies after the game, and Post Malone was just sitting at the table in the middle of the bar, just hanging out.
I saw tons of selfies, and he went down to Penn Gillies, which is that's a classic Prater hangout. So I was cool to see that he's got the rock star dive bar rock star has got a choice in Penn Gillies. So there's a shout out to Penn Gillies, and that was cool too. I mean, it was such a fun deal. I know Post Malone isn't for everybody. I've listened to Post Malone's country album every day for 2.5 consecutive months, guys, including this morning. Every single morning, I listened to Post Malone's country album. So I'm kind of fanboying. And the fact that he was in town over the weekend and at the football game supporting Boise State, got a big concert coming here. I've been told he's moving or building another house here in the area. Maybe Andy Rowe can paint Post Malone's new house, but it's really cool. And it was just when you're good and you have rock star football players, you get rock star celebrities coming into town to watch you play.
I appreciate it, Prater. We'll be listening 3:00 today, sir.
See you guys. Have a good one.
There he is, Mike Prater, KTIK 95.3 The Ticket. And again, you can read his column at BroncoNationNews.com. We have our title sponsor, Andy Rowe, with us for a couple more minutes here. And Andy, they're talking about the 94 game and the goalposts. And I know we had you on the pregame show, and we appreciate you stopping by for that. But just to have the night play out the way it did, to win the game, the celebration, the goalpost ending up in the river, how much fun was that for you to watch on Friday night?
It was a great game. There's two sides of me. One is, and don't get me wrong, I love everything that played out Friday night. You couldn't have asked for it better. But part of you is looking at it going, and maybe you should look at it this way. College football is great because we're tearing down a goalpost after beating UNLV at home. Like, beating UNLV at home, like that you would probably be shocked if you told the fans a couple of years ago that that's what was going to happen. But because of everything that was on the line and how the season had played out, obviously those are the reasons why. But it was pretty shocking that it was because we beat UNLV. But the entry into the college football playoff, the likelihood of getting a bye, watching the fans and the kids down there, shaking that thing back and forth. I was watching it, from upstairs and just taking it all in, and I thought, you guys don't know how hard it is to get that down. You're gonna get a lesson right now, because we did back in '94. We got Al Borges up there. We got that thing bent, I think, but we certainly didn't bring it down. So they did a good job of getting it down, getting a few pieces off of it. It was pretty fun to watch all the videos that were on there. I think the most fun was seeing JD's response that, hey, already paid for, already ready to go. Like that was fantastic vision there.
Yeah, they got lucky. I guess they were already planning to replace the goalpost for next season anyway, with the North End Zone project coming in. That was one of the things they were going to do. And they were already scheduled, I believe, to hopefully be here in time for the Potato Bowl. If not for just a one-game Potato Bowl, they can get some sort of replacement. I just think they should it would make the bowl game more fun. I think you just have to go for two at that end of the field.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Just go for two. More people watch that bowl
have a good
game.
track record of going for two in championship games. Hate to bring up that wound, but we can talk about it. We're heading to the playoffs, and they're in the Potato Bowl.
I think that'd be awesome to more people would probably watch if you had some gimmick thing in a bowl game where you just had to go for two every time instead of taking an extra point. Like, why not? But they're working on that. It was already in the works. It's like $20,000 or something for a new goalpost, but I guess they already were, like I said, working on that. And whether it's scheduled to probably be here in time, but if not, they can get a local high school one or something for one game. They'll be all right for the Potato Bowl, and it just may not be the perfectly looking goalpost, whatever, but they'll get that figured out and get the new goalposts in here for next year. What do you make of the way it all played out, Andy Rowe? Boise State, historic, gets the 3 seed, gets the bye. We'll play the winner of the Penn State SMU game, as I put the graphic on the screen here, December 31st, 5:30 in the Fiesta Bowl yet again. It's cool that it's the Fiesta Bowl. It almost seems fitting, but the fact that two teams are playing for a right to play Boise State, just the whole thing yesterday was pretty surreal. What's your take on it all, Andy?
Well, it was pretty cool to see. I was actually shocked to see SMU show up there, because when they put in Clemson at 12, I thought they wouldn't put SMU ahead of Clemson. After losing that game, I was watching split screen the Oregon and the SMU Clemson game. So when they announced, I think the first thing was when they announced Boise State, it wasn't shocking. It was exciting. It was great to see that. Pretty amazing. The big takeaway, I think, is that the bias is still on. The amount of people that are angry about Boise State and Arizona State getting that bye coming from the big leagues, it was, I shouldn't say shocking. It's just disappointing. They're like, hey, we got to change this. it's one of the best things about college football. Of course, nobody's saying that Boise State is number 3, but that's access. What has Boise State done with what they had in front of them? What I like about this is the committee looked at it and said, control what you can control. Boise State and Arizona State did. The ACC did not. So I think earning that bye is fantastic. I think it is going to go away. I don't think that it should. I think it brings some interesting dynamics to the playoffs. It kind of levels the field a little bit. And obviously the big guys, they don't want the field leveled. And so, the national pundits listening to Saban go on, I've even been surprised by the rest of the guys on ESPN. Booger was probably the only one that was the voice of reason in there. But it's just like this down on the lower tier teams is pretty disgusting. So I guess what it left me with is rooting against every SEC team that's going to be in the playoffs. But back to the positive, the exciting part of Boise State, you mentioned several times, the whole team is in the room and Reese is kind of dogging on us. And Spencer, I think Travis Hawk said, we're going to get some shirts made saying count us out. And I think that's brilliant.
You want a dozen of them. Yes, we got to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. So it is as it should be. Each time as you follow the Fiesta Bowl back in the day, we had to be perfect to get access at the end of the 06 season, right? In 9 and 10, or in 9, we had to be perfect again. And it was a shocking thing and a move forward that they brought in both TCU and BSU. In 10 and 11, one loss, and we got left out. And those are probably arguably the 2 best teams that we've ever fielded, the 10 and the 11 team. 10 was for a Rose Bowl. 11 could have been for a Natty. So, and then in 14, you're a 2-loss team, but you've got the cachet of the name. So I think you've seen Boise State move further and further and further. Yes, we're the mid-major, the group of 5. It's fitting that we're the first one in this inclusive day of, college football, but I also think our brand has gotten a little bit more and more recognition. So good and bad, I guess. The positive is that we're in, we've got to buy. I like our path. The bad is you still hear a lot of, just crap talking coming from the talking heads and all of the coaches and all of the conferences. Sankey lost his mind over it. So that part is probably the least attractive part of college football to me.
But it seems like that puts Boise State. I played the clip earlier from Spencer that I put on Twitter that Travis Hawks had responded to. But it seems like that just plays right into Boise State's hand. They love being the underdog. They love everyone counting them out. That'll be the perfect thing for Spencer to use for the next month every day to fire this team up. And how do you feel about their chances if they were to play a Penn State?
Yeah, I think if all things considered, if I had to pick, I'm probably with Maddox. I'd rather see Penn State, bigger name, more cachet, Big Ten. If you watched Penn State and Oregon play, again, is Oregon the same team they were when they played us? Probably not, but we proved that we could play on the same field. You watched Penn State. So I don't think we played Oregon much different than Penn State or Ohio State played them. If anything, we played them better. You go back to those 2 touchdowns from the special teams that everybody goes back to, which I heard your comment about, thinking, poor Stacey Collins is getting called out on national TV right now, but have we corrected it? Are we playing better on special teams? I think absolutely. There's still some issues there, but they're working on it. So I think we got a chance, whether it's SMU or it's Penn State. You got a chance to get the team completely healthy. You got a chance to get, plenty of film time on both teams. You get a chance to watch both teams giving their best in a play-in game in the first round. And so I think that Boise definitely has a chance. I would be surprised if we're blown out. I think it could be another tight, Oklahoma type, close game. I think depth always plays into these things, but I like our odds. I think that we could absolutely win it. And if you win it, you're looking at the possibility of playing the SEC championship, in the Orange Bowl. So it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about next Saturday, 10 a.m., turning on the TV to watch SMU play Penn State and be like just feet propped up saying these teams are going to battle out for 3 hours and Boise State gets to play the winner. It's a pretty surreal feeling. Andy, I know you got a lot of great things going on with rowpaint.com, whether it's the concrete coatings, whether it's the interior, exterior painting. What do fans and listeners need to know about rowpaint.com today?
Yeah, I think, for the Boise market here, we got, we're scheduling into the first quarter right now. Still opportunity to get some reduced pricing on our rates, scheduling in that first quarter for interior painting. And that's for both business or home. And then the concrete team has some big projects, some smaller projects, and they got some openings that they can fit you in as well. So if you got that project in the basement, you got that project in the garage that you want to get to, it's give us a call. We're also doing a big special through Boise State where we're giving away a full makeover. So you can check out our social medias to enter for that. So it's going to be an exciting, busy season for us. And we somehow got to fit in hopefully all these Boise State football games around it, more than one.
Yes, but the big thing there is the giveaway. So make sure, folks, go check out Andy's social media, Row Paint social media, and they're partnered up with Boise State. And you just have to be a follower, a subscriber on social media, right, to be entered?
Yeah, just follow us on social media and then click the link, and it'll grab your information to sign up for it. And then we've done this, I think this is the 4th or 5th year in a row. And it's funny because we call people and they think they don't believe it's real, that they actually won. And then we come out and we give them a beautiful garage floor and they're like, wow, it is real. So yeah, definitely sign up for it. And sometimes what we'll do is those that didn't win, we'll offer some special pricing too as well. So you definitely want to get in the loop on that one and be a part of it. It's going to be a fun thing. And that'll be coming later in the first quarter. You never know. Maybe part of that makeover is a big decal that says national champions. Who knows?
Oh, there we go. I like that. I like the sound of that. Yeah, I as someone that's used you guys twice for the concrete coatings, and you did some touch up on our siding as well several years ago. It's first class organization. It's the best in the business, folks. And I know there's plenty of options out there when it comes to painters and things. And you may think, oh, it's just cheaper, easier to do it myself. It's not. It's not worth it. Go with the professionals. Go with rowpaint.com. Highly recommend Andy and his team, and they're backing it up in terms of the money they're giving to Boise State, and it's not cheap to be able to use that Boise State logo and be the official paint and coatings company of Boise State. So return the favor and do it today if you can, because I'm meeting Andy for lunch tomorrow. So call today and schedule your project today and say you heard about it on BNN. That might be an extra push before lunch tomorrow. Maybe that'll let Andy buy lunch tomorrow instead of me having to pay. But Andy, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for all your insight. Congratulations on the win. And it's going to be a fun next month. I guess 22 days now. The game is 3 weeks from tomorrow, so it's going to feel like it's slow, but it's probably going to go fast at the same time. It's going to be a fun with the holiday season and everything as well. And then going to New York for the Heisman ceremony this week. Just a lot of cool. If you're a Boise State fan, it's a pretty cool time of year.
Yeah. Very, very exciting. Watching the organization, what it's done, what's about to come our way. If nothing else, we're going to the Fiesta Bowl. We're going home, break out the orange pants. It's going to be a party.
Oh, can't wait, man. Appreciate you, Andy. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Thanks, BJ. Go Broncos.
There he is, Andy Rowe, our title sponsor. Again, check out rowpaint.com. All your painting needs. Support the sponsors, folks. And I highly recommend the concrete coatings there from rowpaint.com. You will not be disappointed at all. You also won't be disappointed if you check out Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com. I am now up to about 23 pounds lost, folks. I've lost about 23 pounds thanks in large part to Lean Feast. leanfeastmeridian.com. Check them out, leanfeastmeridian.com. All different options for different diets. It's all customizable. It's a great meal prep service. Steak, shrimp, chicken, fish, turkey, ground beef, you name it. They've got it all. 10,000 plus combinations. They deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. So make sure you check them out, leanfeastmeridian.com. And it's 2 minutes in the microwave, and they're good for like 5 days in the refrigerator. So you order them on Sunday or Monday, have them delivered, and they're good all week. And I highly recommend it. Check them out online, leanfeastmeridian.com, or check them out. Use Stick and Eagle Road right there in Meridian, ironically, next to Five Guys. Ahmed Hassanin, he had the quarterback. He couldn't quite get the sack. He almost had it, but so you don't get the 91-cent coffee or fountain drink today, but certainly still plenty of reason to get into Jackson's. 25 cents from every hot dog sold gets you goes to the Horseshoe Collective. So go in there and get some snacks, get some beverages from Jackson's, get some gas. And looking forward to continuing our partnership with Jackson's into next year. And that means in January and February, you get a hot dog and a soda for $2 at Jackson's when the Broncos score 70 points. So rough one for them on Saturday. They're probably very lucky that game happened when it did in the schedule in terms of all the football talk right now. We'll talk a little later in the week, a little basketball as they get set for a big game against St. Mary's. But tough one for them against Washington State last Saturday. And close a big second half, but lost by 5. But get out to Jackson's. And again, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective at Jackson's. Lithia Ford of Boise, check them out as well. LithiaFordBoise.com. You can view their full inventory of vehicles. The all-wheel drive sale is going on right now, and I know the weather is getting colder, the ice, the snow, it's coming. So make sure you have a vehicle equipped for the conditions in Idaho at Lithia Ford of Boise. The Rains family's ready. We got our F-150 from Lithia, and super happy and appreciative with that. And you'll be, the customer service is unmatched at Lithia Ford of Boise. You go in there, they're ready to help you out. And if you've done your research ahead of time like you should, you go to LithiaFordBoise.com. You check out the kind of vehicles you're looking at, the miles, all the different specifications. We picked out 2. And went in there, test drive them both. I already had done the research, and it was a much faster, easier process. So check them out, LithiaFordBoise.com. And don't forget, they have 6 NIL deals with student athletes at Boise State. They're providing vehicles for a lot of the coaches, athletic department staff. They're one of, if not the biggest sponsor of Boise State athletics. So return the favor for your next purchase of your car and truck. Make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. Taco Bell, you looking for a fun meal with the family, quick, cheap, delicious meal? Head out to Taco Bell, one of the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations. The SON management, the Nicolason family are also hiring. You can get more information at tacobellworks.com. And it's a great, great work environment, free food while you work, half your wages the next day after your shift. Great promotional opportunities. So maybe you haven't thought about a career at Taco Bell, but I think you really should. Check them out online at tacobellworks.com. And they've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to endowed scholarships at Boise State for the men's and women's basketball team. You get more information on their efforts and their donations and things online at tacobellworks.com. Speaking of jobs, how about the trucking industry? Maybe the fast food industry isn't really your thing. You want to get out on the open road, that's fine. Transcompservice.com can get you signed up, whether it's DOT, overweight, all the permits you need. Check them out, transcompservice.com. Transcompservice.com. Online, transcompservice.com, 866-813-7620. All the things you might need to get into the trucking industry. Highly recommend our friends over at Transportation Compliance Service. And last but certainly not least, the Blue and Orange Store. They've got the Ashton Genty gear, but they've also got the Mountain West Championship gear, and they've got the playoff gear. You want to get a shirt or a hat that has the Boise State logo and the college football playoff? Yeah, they got it at the Blue and Orange Store. Go online, theblueandorangestore.com. Check out their full inventory of playoff gear, of Mountain West Championship gear, theblueandorangestore.com. Check them out right now. And they're also in the Boise Town Square Mall, the second floor there next to Pro Image. So if you want perfect Christmas gifts, that's coming up. You want to buy some gear for the playoff for your family, your kid, theblueandorangestore.com. Highly recommend them, folks. Check them out at the Blue and Orange Store and theblueandorangestore.com for that playoff gear, for the championship gear. It's the perfect time of year. Support the sponsors, folks, at the Blue and Orange Store. And they've already got it, less than 24 hours after it's been announced, all your gear from the playoff. You got 3 weeks till tomorrow to that game. So get ready for that. Appreciate all you guys. We got a lot of comments and things coming in. I will make my annual plug for subscriptions. I am headed to the Heisman Trophy ceremony this week. That is not cheap. Heading to Phoenix, not cheap. And I should go ahead and announce this now, but we are paying for our intern, Jaden Finch, to go to the Fiesta Bowl as well. And it's looking like Mike Sanford may be coming to do some help at the Fiesta Bowl as well with some shows and pre and post game stuff. So BNN is going to be rolling 3 deep to the Fiesta Bowl, and that is not cheap. And so if you really could help us out, we would love to have it. $50 is all it costs for an entire year, 365 days of coverage for $50. If you can help us out, BNN 50 deals, that promo code. I think it's called a coupon code on the website. You go in there, you type it in, and you get to have a full year of coverage for just $50. So if you can help us out, we would really appreciate it. BroncoNationNews.com. You get Mike Prater's columns. He had a great column yesterday that you can read. Nathan Carroll's got an article going up this afternoon on kind of his takeaways from the championship game, all of my coverage, and as we're, the Heisman Trophy stuff this week, right into the Fiesta Bowl, into the, into the basketball season. So a lot of fun reasons, and it's a fun time to be a Boise State fan. So if you're able to help us out, we would love to have that. But again, you're not getting a very cheap trip to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. 3 nights in a hotel in New York is not cheap. And if you could help us out, we would really appreciate it. I'm not necessarily up here begging, but we would certainly love the support this time of year with all the extra unbudgeted kind of travel expenses for the playoff, for 3 people, for the Heisman Trophy ceremony in New York. You guys deserve the coverage. It was a no-brainer. We got to be there. You guys deserve to see Deion Sanders talk, to see Travis Hunter, to see Ashton Genty. We're going to have, unmatched coverage at Bronco Nation News and BroncoNationNews.com of the Heisman Trophy ceremony this week. It's a historic week for Boise State. BNN needs to be there, and we will be there. I would love a weekend off, but no, we're going to go all the way to New York and work our tails off, for the second weekend in a row. So if you're able to support us and help us out, would love it. It'd be awesome if you could. And as I know, a lot of you people on here are commenting nicely. Thank you, Christine. Best $50 you'll ever spend. Sign up now. Appreciate that. Todd says his subscription just renewed. Appreciate you for that. Thank you. Very nice of you as well. We think it's pretty good value. There's a lot, I know money's tight, a lot of things at holiday season and all that, but I think $50 is a pretty good deal. You get a daily email, you get all kinds of, different exclusive kind of member benefits and things. And the big thing is getting to read, a weekly column from Prater. And I say it all the time, but I pay Mike Prater, I pay John Mallory, I pay Jay Tust, I pay Nathan Carroll, I pay Brad Bedell, Riley Smith. Like, all these guys aren't doing this for free. So we actually have a pretty good sized payroll when it all is said and done. So, and then you throw in the travel expenses to go to the Heisman Trophy ceremony for 3 days in New York and send 3 people to a college football playoff game. And hopefully if they win the next week and go to the Orange Bowl, that's not going to be cheap either. So appreciate you guys for hearing my spiel. And if you are able to help us out, it would mean a lot. This is a company that is funded, solely on our advertisers and your subscriptions. And we're a locally owned company here and don't have the biggest budget out there. So if you guys are able to help us out, $50 does go a long way. BNN 50 deal. And you get, as I said, full year of coverage for that. And then it renews at $70 after that. It goes up $20, to 70, but $50. And that includes all kinds of stuff behind the paywall, but I mentioned you get an email and some other stuff, and we're looking to continue to add member benefits. We gave away 4 tickets to the Mountain West Championship game, but you had to be a member to be eligible for that. If you're a member, you're also eligible for our private jet trip for 2 to go to a away basketball game this year. We'll be telling you more details about that, but that's a benefit that's only for paying subscribers that are eligible to win that. So we think it's pretty good value, and if you're able to help us out, we would love to have you do that. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. This is a hour and 12-minute show that you just watch for free on YouTube or X or Twitter or Facebook or wherever you watch it. So if you're unable to subscribe, the least you can do is support one of our sponsors back here, Taco Bell, Jackson's, Western Collective, some of our other sponsors that aren't up on the wall yet, but go have lunch at one of our sponsors like Lean Feast or Taco Bell, or go have a beverage at Western Collective, or switch your bank over, or go buy some gear at the Blue and Orange store. And when you do, just tell the owner, tell the general manager, ask to speak with them real quick and just say, hey, thanks. We appreciate what you're doing for BNN, and that's why we're here. And that does go a long way, believe it or not, especially right now as I'm trying to renew some of these deals for next year. So support the sponsors. Like our video, share our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, tell your friends, watch all the shows. We have 4 interviews from yesterday, actually 5 counting Spencer Danielson. Spencer Danielson, Shea Oladipo, Ben Dooley, Maddox Madsen, Marco Notriani. All those interviews are up on our YouTube channel. So you can go watch those interviews, get their full reaction to getting, finding that they're the number 3 seed and getting the bye in the playoff. All that stuff's on the YouTube channel. We'll be dumping a ton of stuff on the YouTube channel, obviously from the Heisman Trophy ceremony and stuff this week. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you can, just like this video so it helps us in the algorithms and things. And I don't know exactly how it works. But there's a bell or something. You can turn on notifications for BNN, and you want to make sure you do that as well. Because anytime we go live or anytime we post a new video, you get a little notification on your phone so you know to check in and watch us or go see what videos we posted. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. We will have a normal week. Jay Tust will be back tomorrow. We are scheduled to have Brad Bedell on Wednesday. We'll have Johnny on Thursday, and then Jay Tust and I on Friday will be live from New York with coverage from the Heisman Trophy ceremony on Friday morning. Jay and I are the only 2 media members that are going, so support KTVB and support BNN for being the only 2 outlets that are making the investment and in money and time to go all the way to New York. So kudos to KTVB for sending Jay. I'm going as well. We're going to tag team some of the events and coverage up there and try to do the best we can to make it the strongest coverage possible for both outlets, I guess. And so looking forward to that. I know Spencer Danielson's going to be there. Jeremiah Dickey will be there. So we'll have some interviews with them. And just going to try to give you the sights and sounds of a historic weekend there at the Heisman Trophy. I do believe we will have a Ball Talk show on Wednesday at 8, and we're working on a time, but I believe there's going to be a Riley and Ridge show as well. So this is going to be a normal week for the most part here at BNN as we continue to get set for the Heisman Trophy this week. And then next week we'll get set for that SMU Penn State game. And then obviously we'll be diving into that. And then before you know it, it's going to be game week, and then it's going to be here. So it's going to happen pretty quickly, even though it seems like a long ways away, 22 days. But appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations again. Soak it in. Enjoy it. I don't know if it still feels like a dream for you guys or what, but that's pretty cool for the Boise State fans out there to kind of sit back and relax and have 3 weeks to get ready for a game like this. Pretty awesome feeling. You guys, you deserve it, and enjoy it. It's a pretty cool feeling, and I'm happy for you guys. So congratulations. Thanks again. Go subscribe if you can. $50 BNN 50 deal. And we'll talk to you at 9 a.m. tomorrow with Jay Tust. Looking forward to that. Check the website for Mike Prater's column. Nathan Carroll's story is going up this afternoon as well. And a lot of content on social media and YouTube channel as well. So thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later. This has been Bronco Nation News Live on a historic Monday, the day after Boise State lands the number 3 seed in the college football playoff. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Go check out the website. Go subscribe. And we'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live from the Western Collective Studios. We're presented by our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. This is BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News at Bronco Nation News.